Bainway wasn't my first choice. If someone had told me years ago that I'd meet my husband there, in the middle of a healing journey I didn't ask for, I would have laughed and walked away. But sometimes, life spins its best stories in the most unexpected corners. I am precious, and I want to use this medium to share the beautiful experience of life. It all began after I left Abuja. I had just ended a toxic relationship that nearly stripped me of my self-worth. I didn't talk about it much, just packed my bags, left the memories behind, and relocated to Bainway to start over. The wounds were still fresh, but I needed to breathe again, to remember who I was before I poured everything into someone who didn't see my value. I joined a small worship community in Makurdi. Nothing serious at first, just somewhere to keep my soul alive. I met Caleb there. He was kind, gentle, always smiling like he carried the sun in his pocket. He'd help carry my Bible sometimes, assist me with getting a seat during crowded services, and even offered to walk me home a few times. At first, I thought it was just normal Christian kindness. But one evening, as the choir was rehearsing and I was about to leave, he asked if he could talk to me. I remember that moment vividly. He was nervous. "I like you," he said, almost in a whisper. "I've been praying about you, and I believe God wants us to get to know each other better." I froze. Not because I hadn't seen the signs, but because I couldn't feel anything for him. Not then. My heart was still too bruised to function properly. I told him gently that I wasn't in the right space emotionally. He nodded, smiled, and said he'd give me time. But Caleb didn't give up. The texts kept coming. The calls. The prayers. Sometimes he'd send food to my office. Other times, he'd just show up with flowers, asking how my day went. I appreciated the gestures, but it didn't move me. My heart was still wrapped in bandages. Every time I tried to imagine being with him, I'd feel nothing. Then came the radio incident. One Tuesday morning, I was called live on a local FM station. I was confused. I hadn't entered any giveaway or contest. Then I heard Caleb's voice on the air, pouring his heart out to me. He said he wasn't trying to pressure me, but he needed the world to know how he felt. I was mortified. It was sweet, yes, but also embarrassing. That day, everyone in the office teased me endlessly. But even after that, I couldn't return his feelings. Eventually, Caleb gave up. Not angrily, just quietly. He stopped replying to my messages. At church, if I greeted him, he'd nod stiffly and walk away. There was no malice in his silence, just resignation. He had tried and failed. And deep down, I was relieved. No more guilt. No more pressure. A year passed. I focused on my job, my peace, and my small circle of friends. Caleb became a familiar face in the background. Then, one Sunday after service, he approached me with a smile. "I'm getting married," he said, handing me a cream-colored invitation card. I examined it quickly. His fiancée's name was Diana. "Pretty name." "Congratulations," I said, surprised at how genuinely happy I was. No jealousy. No what-ifs. Just peace. I even attended the wedding and danced well, even more than some of his relatives. My heart was that light. 2 months after his wedding, Caleb called me. "I want to discuss something with you," he said. "I have a friend who's interested in you." I laughed so hard I almost dropped my phone. "You? Matchmaking for me?" I asked. "After all that radio drama?" "I'm serious," he said. "He saw your photo on my WhatsApp, asked who you were, and has been disturbing me since. He just got back from Lagos and would like to meet you." In my mind, I thought, Maybe Caleb still has a small grudge and wants to set me up with a disaster.
So I lied.
I'm in a relationship, I told him. He didn't believe me. At least just meet him. Have a conversation. Then decide.
I didn't say yes.
But I didn't say no either. A few weeks later, I was hanging out with my colleague, Anita, when Caleb called again. Martin's is in town, he said. We're going out for dinner. Come and join us. Bring a friend if you like. I was hesitant, but Anita was excited. Free food, she said. Count me in. So we went. The plan was simple. Eat, smile politely, and go home. Maybe give the guy an attitude, so he won't bother again. But that plan died the moment Martins opened his mouth. He was tall, with the calmest demeanor I had ever seen. His voice was like honey, soft, slow, intentional. Within minutes, we were laughing like we had known each other for years. His stories were funny, but more than that, he listened. He didn't just wait to talk, he paid attention. I forgot about the food. I forgot about Anita. I forgot Caleb was even there. For 2 hours, it was just Martins and me talking about books, childhood, God, travel, and everything in between. At some point, Anita had to clear her throat loudly to remind me we weren't alone. On our way back, I was quiet. Anita noticed. You like him, she said with a grin. I don't know, I whispered, scared of what I was feeling. That night, I called my closest friend, Chica. Chica, I'm in trouble, I said. What happened? I think I like Caleb's friend. She laughed. So, what if it's a setup? I said. What if Caleb is using him to get back at me? She sighed. Or maybe God is just using Caleb to bring you the right person. That hit me. Martins and I started talking more. Texts became calls. Calls became visits. Within weeks, we were seeing each other almost every weekend. He was easy to talk to, but more than that, he made me feel safe. Not in a clingy way, just safe to be myself again. 3 months in, he took me to meet his parents. 6 months in, we traveled to Abadan to see mine. That was when I decided to have the conversation. I asked him, did Caleb ever tell you we had something? He looked confused. Something like what? You know that he once liked me. Martins shook his head. He just told me you're a good person. That's all. He said if there's anyone he'd recommend, it would be you. I was stunned. That day, I told him everything. The radio incident.
The gifts.
The silence. Everything.
Martins logid.
If Caleb wanted to get back at you, he wouldn't have sung your praises to me. It was in that moment I knew. This man wasn't just another relationship. He was the relationship. The one I didn't think I'd find. Now, years later, we're married. Mr. and Mrs. Martins. Caleb is still in our lives. In fact, he's like a big brother now. He comes around with his wife and kids. Sometimes we joke about that radio day and how if things had gone differently, none of us would be where we are now. We even bought wine and took it to thank him. Without you, we probably wouldn't have met, Martin said that day. And it's true. Caleb was never the man for me, but he was the man God used to lead me to the one who was.